Hello everyone, this is Marissa, your Juvenile Services Librarian. This week I'm going to be reading you books about the theme, which is monsters. After I get done, Racheal will come on and explain this week's craft to you all. Let's get started. The first one we have is called, Hey, That's My Monster, written by Amanda Knoll, illustrated by Howard McWilliam.
Are you Casey?
Yeah.
The door was on my side.
It's okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Hello everyone, this is Marissa, your Juvenile Services Librarian. This week I'll be reading to you about the theme, monsters. Once I get done with the books, Racheal will come on and explain this week's craft to you. Let's get started. The first book we'll be reading today is called, Hey, That's My Monster, written by Amanda Knoll, illustrated by Howard McWilliam. Tonight, when I looked under the bed for my monster, I found this note instead. So long, kid. Gotta go. Someone needs me more than you do. Gabe. What? Gabe was my monster. Nobody needed him more than me. But someone sure did need a monster. My little sister, Emma. Now that Emma slept in a toddler bed, she liked to climb out, roam the house, and play noisy games at night. I knew a monster would keep her in bed so she could fall asleep. But not my monster. I had to get Gabe back. I tiptoed across the hall to Emma's room. She wasn't even there. But Gabe was. I gulped, zoomed across the carpet, and leaped onto Emma's bed before Gabe could grab my toes. Gabe, I whispered, please go back to our room. I'll get Emma to sleep. You, he snorted. You're gonna get her to sleep? Ha, that's a good one. But you know what? I like you, kid, so I'll give you 3 chances. If she's not asleep, I'll be back. And Gabe was gone. Just then, Emma toddled into the room. She clearly needed a monster. Maybe she didn't know how to get one, but I did. Hey, Emma, I said, let's play. Can you knock on the floor? Emma knocked with a dinosaur. It worked. I heard some creaking under Emma's bed. Then something sniveled. It squelched and dripped. So far, so good, I thought. This monster sounds scary enough for Emma. But Emma kept on playing. A slime-covered monster slid out. It oozed toward Emma. Icky, she laughed, wiping one of the monster's noses. Icky wipe. Emma wasn't scared at all. Excuse me, I said to the mucus monster. I didn't catch your name. My name is Agatha, she said through stuffed noses. Time for bed, Emma. Emma giggled and wiped some more. I knew this wouldn't work. Thanks, Agatha. Nice try, but I think we need a monster with claws. Agatha snuffled, and then she was gone. Emma, I coaxed again. Knock, knock. She knocked on the floor, with a teapot this time. And I heard more creaking. Then a slippery tail slithered out from under the bed. The second monster rasped, I'm Cynthia. Much better, I thought, when I saw the jagged claws. Cynthia might be the perfect monster for Emma. Emma blinked and said, Pretty. Then she decorated Cynthia's tail with bracelets. "Ugh," Cynthia snarled. "I'm not here to play dress up. I'm here to scare you into bed." Cynthia rattled louder, but Emma danced to the beat. "I'm sorry, Cynthia," I said. "This isn't going to work." "Well, I never," she sniffed, and then she was gone. "Cynthia, come back," Emma demanded, stomping on the floor. Excellent, I thought. Maybe that would summon the perfect monster for Emma. Tentacles swarmed from under the bed. An icy voice called, "Ooh." I shrank back in horror, but Emma was enchanted. "Who's out of bed?" The monster continued. "Come to Vladimir." Emma high-fived one of the tentacles, and the third monster emerged. I already had doubts about this one, but he was my last chance. "Vladimir," I asked, "can you get Emma to sleep?" "Yes," he hissed, reaching for Emma. "I can get her." Emma giggled and hopped over the tentacles like jump ropes. "Oh no," I blurted. "She's not supposed to be having fun. This will never work." Vlad's tentacles drooped. He slunk under the bed, and he was gone. "Sorry, Vlad," I called. Boy, was I sorry. I was about to lose Gabe. Forever. Now Emma was coloring and singing. "Blabomir, ha, blah, blah, Cynthia, ya, ya, Agatha, fa, fa." Gabe must have heard her, because he was back. "That's it, kid," he grunted. "You had their 3 tries. Now it's my turn." Gabe's green ooze sizzled across the floor as he growled, "Put the crayon down." Emma peered at my hulking, sharp-clawed monster and said, "Fuzzy." "Hey, Gabe," I cheered. "Emma isn't afraid of you." "What?" Gabe burst out from under the bed and he loomed over Emma. Steam spurted from his ears. "Get into bed," Gabe thundered. Emma hopped up, but she kept singing, "Fuzzy, fuzzy monster." "Gabe," I said, "Emma's not scared enough to fall asleep. Please, let's go back to our room." "No can do, kid," Gabe growled. "I may not be the perfect monster for Emma, but I'm the best so far. At least she's in bed now. I gotta stay here. You're on your own." I knew Emma needed Gabe, but he was my monster. How was I ever going to get to sleep without him? Just then, we heard a tiny noise. Hic, 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 hic. Emma froze. Gabe and I peered under the bed. "Stella, what are you doing here?" Gabe asked. "Hi, Gabe," Stella said, tugging on her tutu. "You forgot your snack. Mama thought you'd be hungry, so she sent this." Who knew? Gabe had a little sister too. I thought Stella's hiccups were cute, but Emma obviously didn't. Stella sure noticed. She tiptoed closer, hiccuping with every step. From under her covers, Emma squeaked, "Shoo!" "Shoo?" Stella repeated. "Oh, shoo! That's where toes go. I love toes." Stella crept towards Emma's feet. Emma squealed, scrunched in her feet, and giggled, "No toes, no toes!" Gabe laughed. "Stella, it looks like you're the perfect monster for Emma. Now, if you don't mind, you can get her to sleep while I get back to doing what I do best." Stella nodded. I sighed with relief and switched off Emma's lamp. Then I ran to my room, leaped into bed, and scrunched in my feet so Gabe couldn't get them. I shivered happily. Emma had Stella. I had Gabe. Everything was back to normal. I shivered again. We'd all be asleep in no time. What a silly little book. He wanted a monster under his bed to help him get to sleep. The next book is called Kings of the Castle by Victoria Turnbull. Be back by dawn. George didn't want to waste the night moonbathing. He wanted to build a sand castle that would turn any monster green with envy. But Boris had other ideas. Then out of the sea, what on earth? Came the strangest looking creature George had ever seen. George decided to introduce himself. The creature couldn't be worse company than Boris. Hello, my name is George. Grrr, arf, arf, arf. Grrr, arf, arf, arf. But it was hopeless. They could not understand one another. Arf! Arf, 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 arf. George decided it was time to go. Arf! 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 Come on, Boris. But Boris had other ideas. Boris! Maybe they could be friends after all. And so with a little planning, George and Nepo set to work. Arf! And before long, the flag could be raised. George and Nepo had done it. They were now arf, arf, kings of the castle. Arf, arf, arf. When the tide came in and the sun came up, they headed for home. The night was over. But some things last forever. That was so wonderful. He ended up making his new friend. And it seemed like Boris helped. The next book is called The Most Terrible of All by Montivan and Matt Myers. This is Smug. He is the most terrible monster ever. Even his magic mirror says so. Every morning, right after he slimes himself with 20 frogs, he asks, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most terrible one of all?" The mirror always replies, "Ugly Smugly, my smelly wuggly, you are the most terrible one of all." Truly, true as the slime and grime dripping from your nose, true as the snails and tails creeping between your toes. But this morning, something was different. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most terrible one of all?" "Ugly Smugly, my foaming nuggly, you are pretty terrible, it's true. But another has arrived next door, another who's 1,000,000 times more terrible than you. Another who's 1,000,000 times more terrible than me? Who is it? How can that be? Smug sharpened his claws. I'll show you who's the most terrible one of all. Smug stomped out of the house, trampled the frogs, broke the fence, squashed the flowers, and pushed down the neighbor's door. Smug had never seen so many wild beasts before. He pulled down a beast swinging from the chandelier. Are you the one who's the most terrible of all? No, not me. Fang is the most terrible. She's under there. Are you the one who's the most terrible of all? No, not me. Jaws and Claws are the most terrible. They're over there. Are you the one who's the most terrible of all? No, not me, said Claws. Jaws shook his head. Just then a thundering noise rattled the windows and doors. What was that? Whispered Smug. Oh, that's our new sister, said Claws. She's upstairs, and she's really the most terrible of all. I can be more terrible than that, said Smug. He howled and growled as he stomped up the stairs. The little beast didn't look so terrible. He leaned in close. The little beast pulled his hair. I told you she was terrible, said Claws. I can be more terrible than that, said Smug. He took a huge bite out of the crib. But the little beast was just getting started. She wrote on the walls, she teased the pets, she ripped the books, and she said her first word. It was not a nice one. Oh, and she spilled some water too. I told you she was terrible, said Claws. I can be more terrible than that, said Smug. He grabbed the serpent by the tail. He rolled it up. He kicked it. The little beast started crying. Smug picked the little beast up. She stopped crying and bit his nose. He tried shaking her off, but he only got dizzy. He crashed into the wall. She still held on. He fell straight out the window and Smug couldn't believe it. The little beast was still on his head. The other beasts ran out of the house. I told you she was terrible, said Claws. Suddenly, there was a big, stinky gust of wind. I think someone needs a diaper change, said Jaws, holding his nose. The little beast squeezed Smug even tighter. I think the baby likes you, said Fang. Smug glowered at the baby. The baby grinned at Smug. I don't like anyone, said Smug. We'll see about her. Smug stomped across the lawn, squashed the flowers, kicked the fence, trampled the frogs, and pushed down his door. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most terrible one of all? The most terrible, over 2 feet tall? Maybe he liked the little baby after all. The last book we have today is called Monsters, Trucks by Rebecca Van Slyke, illustrated by Joe Sutphin. This is Monster. Monster is big. Monster is scary. Monster has lots of trucks, but Monster does not like to share them. No sharing. This is Monster's bulldozer. Monster uses it to push rocks and dirt around. Whenever this lever goes down forward, the blade goes down. You wouldn't touch that lever, would you? You would? Don't ever touch that lever. Oh! Look what happened. This is Monster's front loader. When Monster pushes this button, it picks up big piles of dirt. Wait, what are you doing to that button? Don't push the button. Oh, you pushed it. Arrgh! This is Monster's dump truck. Monster moves dirt and rocks from one place and then dumps them somewhere else. Dump trucks are very heavy. It's a good thing the ground is flat. I hope no one tips the book. Wait! Look out, Monster! Oh, Monster, you look angry. What are you doing now, Monster? Oh, I see. This is not a tree. This is Monster's crane. When Monster moves the boom and lowers the hook, he can pick something up. Then he can set it down someplace else. I hope nobody moves the boom while Monster is outside his truck. Oh no! Watch out, Monster! Ah! Oh, Monster, you look a little dizzy. You'd better go lie down. This is Monster's forklift. It can lift heavy pallets if you push this red knob. Be careful not to sneeze. No sneezing, please. Wait, why is your nose twitching like that? You don't need to sneeze, do you? Huh? Huh? Choo! Oh, I give up. You drive the trucks. It's break time for Monster. Well, you heard him. Pull the levers, push the knobs, tap the buttons. There now. Wasn't that fun? Monster isn't so sure. But what's this? A tree fort? For me? Did you make that for Monster? Look, Monster, come see and guess who made it for you. You made a tree fort for me? You are a good friend. Maybe next time you and Monster can build something together. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed our Monster books, and next up, Racheal will come on to explain this week's craft to you.
Hi friends, I hope you enjoyed all the stories about monsters this week. For your curbside craft, we are making the big green monster from the book. So in your kit, you'll get a paper plate. It'll look a little bit like this. And some tissue paper, some green tissue paper, and then a couple pieces of little pieces of paper of different colors. And so for your the green part of his face, you're going to tear up the tissue paper, and then if you did our Earth Day craft, this is similar to what we did for that, just you're putting it all over the paper plate instead. So then I just would put some glue on the paper plate. I found that to work easier, and then I put the tissue paper on, and I just covered his whole face, the whole paper plate. And then I cut out like a little shape like this for his nose and 2 circles out of the yellow paper for his eyeballs. And then I just drew in the little pupils. And then for his mouth, I cut out a big oval from the pink paper. And for the teeth, you have a white strip, and I just cut these big long triangles for his teeth. And then also with the green paper, make sure you don't use too much of it for his nose because you'll need a little bit for his ears, so you want to save some for that. And then I just cut kind of like the shape of a lima bean for his ears. And then for the purple paper, just cut long strips, and I kind of curved my scissors like this to make them wavy. And I glued those on the back so that his hair would be sticking out. And then for your printable craft, it's a super simple craft this time. You will get, you'll print out a few pieces of paper because there's a couple of different options for your monster. So you can make all these monsters or you can just choose one. So we've got this orange friend here, this purple friend, a green friend, and then a pink friend. And so I just kind of cut around the monster. I didn't, go into each piece, but you can. But I just kind of cut the general shape. And then I put, I chose which mouth I wanted. There's lots of different mouths, and you can put different ones on different monsters. And then which eyeballs I wanted. And so that's what I ended up choosing for my monster. But you can do as many as you want or as few as you want. So those are the crafts for the week, and we'll see you next time.